Hi everyone. The First Parents welcomes you to a very important session today, which is on lactation. We're waiting for Dr. Mugdha to join. She'll be just joining us in a minute. I hope all of you are doing well and enjoying the sessions that we have been conducting every day for you. She'll just take one more minute. And she has joined us.
Hi, Ali.
Hello, Dr. Mugdha. Welcome to the First Parents platform.
Thank you. Thank you, First Parents, for inviting
For
me.
your, we'll just wait for your internet to settle down a bit. Dr. Mugdha, would you like to join us again? We feel there's an issue with the internet connectivity.
No, right now I think it's fine. You guys are able to hear me clearly?
Yes, but you're also on blur. So we'll just wait for a minute for you to... If you could just join
Okay.
back once again.
Sure.
Apologies, guys. It happens, but she'll just join us again one more time. So while we wait for her, I hope all of you have been enjoying the sessions. If there's any feedback, please do send us. We have a very extremely, respectable guest lineup over the next 1 week. And in June, we'll be addressing a lot of topics which is related to women's health. We have Dr. Neil Shah from Harvard Medical School, who will be talking on the importance of natural birth. Dr. Julian from Brigham Young University from Boston, who will be talking about, the importance of epidural and its safety, etc. So we're just waiting for Dr. Mugdha here. And as soon as she joins back, we'll be live. Also wanted to share with you all that the intent of this is to provide support and get the experts to talk directly to mothers who are in areas where you don't have access to experts like a lactation specialist or an basically gynecologists who can address extreme issues. So please share the word about the First Parents. We're a platform to bring the best experts to you and answer most of your questions when you go through the journey from pregnancy to parenthood. So Dr. Mugdha has joined us. So we'll just take a minute to add her in.
Hi. Is it
Hi.
better now?
Yes, Dr. Mugdha. Welcome. Thank you
Yes.
for joining us today at the First Parents platform. Before we start, I wanted to share with most of the moms that I don't know if it surprises them that more than 1 in 5 mothers actually give up on breastfeeding in the first month itself. And it's just the inadequate breast milk intake or in the number of, in most newborns that actually leads to rehospitalization. And the worry about the low milk supply leads to mothers to prematurely discontinue breastfeeding in the first year itself. I know being a mom, a lot of moms can end up blaming themselves, that they've stopped breastfeeding. And there is not sophisticated guidance so frequently available, to continue that journey. I know some of my friends in the UK itself or Germany, who breastfeed till the babies are 4 years, and that is only possible due to the support of lactation consultants and healthcare experts. So everyone, we have Dr. Mugdha to solve our problem today. We have the expert to answer all your questions. She is an international board certified lactation consultant, which is a gold standard. She's also done her master's in nutrition and specialized in pediatric nutrition. And she has spent years helping out more than over, I think, 4,000 families, doctor. And I don't know how many innumerable moms like me who didn't even know the basics of breastfeeding. So, doctor, before we go ahead and understand the ABCs of breastfeeding, which I learned at Stanford from Dr. Jane Morton, which is basically attachment, breast milk production, and the calmness and intake of the child. Yeah. I want you to address a very important question for our moms today. What is the importance of breastfeeding in the first hour of the birth, and how was it in the hands of the mother actually?
It's true. So it's a very important question actually. The thing is, even in our own country today, I'm in the system, so I hardly see mothers feeding within an hour of delivery. We all are aware about 6 months exclusive breastfeeding, but very few are actually aware about early initiation of breastfeeding within an hour. So, if you have not done it, any of the parents who have, don't get scared. What I usually recommend is at least do it as soon as you get the baby. But if you do that, you need to talk to your obstetrician before you deliver that you want to do that first feeding within an hour, so that if you are in the OT or in the labor room, they can put the baby at the breast immediately. And to tell you, it's not just about breastfeeding being the best food for the baby, and that's why we should be doing it. Breast milk or breastfeeding is much more than being just the food. When you first put the baby at the breast within an hour, baby is skin to skin with the mother. The bacteria on the mother's body we don't have only bad bacteria. There are good bacteria. It helps develops the baby's immune system. Even the nature has made it like that. The stomach capacity is very less in the initial days, and whatever colostrum is produced, it is enough for the baby, and that is loaded with antibodies. Baby was in a protected environment earlier. When it comes out and is exposed to so many microorganisms, the priority is protecting the baby than satisfying the hunger. So this is for the baby. But it is also beneficial for the mother as well. When you put the baby skin to skin, your hormones, oxytocin is released. It's a feel-good hormone, a happy hormone when you don't feel out of control of the situation. Because oxytocin is released, your milk production starts better. Because of the hormones which are released, it also cause constriction of the vessels. So who have delivered normally, hemorrhage, bleeding after delivery, is less if you start as soon as possible. So it is very important to start feeding, and if you have a good start, breastfeeding issues are less. If you have a bad start, then it's like a vicious cycle.
Absolutely, doctor. And a lot of us are not even told about the importance of that first few droplets, because there are so many cultural and traditional norms that we have in India that, somebody needs to do certain things before you start feeding. And that process really delays the mother to child attachment. So, true. Doctor, wanted to ask you, a lot of mothers have been asking us questions. How do I feed my baby in the first hour in case I have had a C-section? So, do you want to touch upon the topic of, the value of early hand expression for such mothers?
So, yes, that is true. But before touching about hand expression, I would like to tell you that it's not that if you have a C-section, you can't put the baby at the breast directly. The reason is, as soon as baby is put, the hormones are released accordingly, and baby can remove milk more efficiently than hand or the pump. But yes, as you all know, if somebody has undergone a C-section, first 24 hours, mother is lying completely flat. So you might find difficult to latch the baby. If it is difficult, then don't wait. Then at least you start hand expressing. And in the initial days, as we spoke, milk production is less. Pump, manual or electric breast pump doesn't help much. And in fact, it stresses the mother that, I'm not producing enough. But if you learn hand expression, you will get few drops. Or we also use something called as a syringe technique. It's a regular syringe. It is cut and the piston is put on the other end, and we used to release milk and then give that milk to the baby. That is important, most important thing that needs to be done. And if you are not aware, you need to get educated about what comes after the baby arrives, rather than just focusing on exercising and food during the delivery, because we also see a lot of postpartum depression and stress due to not being able to nurse the baby properly. It's not just about food, it's an emotional topic for any mother, that why my body is not able to produce the best food for my baby.
As you're talking about this, doctor, would you want to touch a little bit about the skin to skin aspect? Because again, that is a very missed topic by most mothers or by doctors. The importance
Yes,
of skin to skin with the mother just immediately post delivery.
sure.
And
And
what is
not
skin to skin for a lot of mothers here
so,
who don't know?
when I say skin to skin, baby is completely undressed. Baby is just on the nappy. Mother has to undress herself from the top, and you sit reclined with the baby onto you. If it's a normal delivery, you will be propped up and inclined a little bit and take. But even if it's a cesarean, will be lying flat. Baby can be put to, close to the mother, and she can take a bed cover from top and hold the baby close to the baby. Many times, because it's, even with a normal delivery, many times there is an episiotomy cut down there. Mothers are not able to sit. Parents, people around us feel mother has just undergone labor, let her rest. We will do all this later. And with cesarean, so it's like you have undergone a major surgery. She is drowsy, let her rest. But we miss on that. First 2 hours after delivery, baby is alert. Post that, they are also drowsy and sleepy. So many times, if you don't feed in within 2 hours, then it is delayed. And I've seen mothers first feed is only after 5-6 hours. So that should not be done. And apart from doing it only, in the beginning, I usually recommend doing it 2-3 times a day, just holding, because you and baby both are learning. Let the baby smell you, smell the breast, smell the milk. That's how they will start developing affinity towards the breast. They will know their food is going to come from here. If many times in the hospital, when I visit on day 3, and if it's a cesarean, mothers have to, and I give them the baby to hold skin to skin. They are like, what, I'm holding the baby for the first time. Otherwise, sisters come, put the baby, okay, it's not feeding well, they take the baby for feeds, wrap them, come, and the baby is sleeping in the cradle. So you don't get even to hold the baby for first 2-3 days, which should not happen. So, and it's not your fault. To tell you, don't blame yourself for not doing all this. But you need to, that's why I always insist on learning before your baby comes and informing what you want. There is nothing like a best parent or a perfect parent. Everybody's journey is different. You need to, but you need to take an informed call, whether you want to go that way or you want to, whichever thing, that you take your call.
Dr. Mugdha, one request coming from a lot of people, your voice is not clear. So maybe if we go a little slow, the way you're speaking,
Sure.
I think it's not the proximity to the speaker. I think it's just the connectivity. So if you go a little slow, the lag will be, taken care of by Instagram.
Sure.
That's great. Thank you for talking about the importance of breastfeeding the first hour, the skin to skin, and so now can you address my question on the value of hand expression? Because early on, I know a lot of mothers sent us question that, because the baby was in the NICU, I tried to use the breast pump, but they aren't aware of the technique of what is the importance of
hand expression. When we say hand expressing, it's not just about pressing the breast. Many times people have told me, I tried hand expressing, but I am not getting milk. Or day 3 I meet, they are like, I did, doctor, I didn't have only milk. Milk is formed in the 7th month of pregnancy. So even if you don't see that milk is not coming out, doesn't mean you don't have milk. You need to use the right method to do it. And the right method is, suppose this is the breast, there's a black circular portion called areola and the nipple here. You don't have to press on the nipple. You have to hold at the periphery of the areola, go back, press and come forward. Go back, press and we always miss going back. We always, most of them, we do this or we press the breast all over and do this. Then we don't get anything out. It's like ducks are like rays of sun. So you need to press on the ducts, come back, and you will see very few drops. Also, most important, you may express about 3 ml or 5 ml of breast milk, and the sister who is suppose giving top feed to the baby, she may come and tell you your baby had 25 ml, 30 ml on day 1. Still, don't feel that you are not producing enough. You are producing few drops to 5 ml is their need on day 1. Because they are getting with a different method, which is a faster flow. Milk is coming and falling in their mouth. Stomach being an elastic tissue, it increases in size and accommodates more milk. So never think, because it can be sometimes, demotivating for mothers to see only few drops coming. But don't do that. But I've seen a lot of mothers, when we express and see milk, they are like super happy, like, oh, finally I saw my milk for my baby. So you do use hand expressing every few hours. Suppose baby is mixed fed in the hospital on day 1, day 2. Every time you attempt feeding, if it's not happening, and suppose first time they gave top, once the baby is done with the feed sleeping, you need to sit and express. The reason being, if there is no frequent stimulation, body won't get the signal that there is demand for milk and the production will be affected.
Understood, doctor. Very interestingly explained, very simply explained. Thank you for that. Doctor, because you talked about in the early days, there is only very few drops of milk coming. A lot of mothers don't even know how to hold the baby and how to do the A of breastfeeding, which is attachment. So what do, as a mother, I need to know to make the right attachment and make it comfortable and effective?
So when we talk about attachment, skin to skin is the most, work for the baby and the mother. So we are always told to, support the head of the baby, but ideally you should never keep on touching their head. You should always support their neck and the upper back, and you need to hold the baby. First put the head, then take the baby closer, sit with it. You don't have to do particularly anything, just sit with it, with the baby, relaxing, let him be with you. You will always see he feeling good, because he hears the same heartbeat what he was hearing for the 9 months. He is able to smell you, so he feels more secure. So you'd have to do that. And to tell you, if you have a C-section and you are not able to somehow do it on day 1, husbands can do it. I know somebody who delivered in New Zealand, and she had told me, because I was being sutured in the OT, instead of giving top feed, they told my husband to undress and then put the baby onto him skin to skin, so that baby gets the warmth and feels secure. So it need not always be the mother. If she is not able to for some reason, fathers have to take the child. And then she can...
And the other term for it is kangaroo mother care. That's why, because in Africa and all, anybody can give skin to skin care to the baby.
Yeah. Other, I would like to talk, when you talk about attachment, there is something called as ergonomic baby carriers. There are different types of it. Basically, a long stretchy cloth which you can wear the baby. So, it's not just maybe immediately after delivery, but once you go home, many times you will see you have fed the baby well, but baby is not ready to be calm. As soon as you keep him down, he starts trying to, then you have to hold the baby. In those times, wearing the baby helps a lot, because they are skin to skin, they feel more secure. They want to be with you for comfort, but every time you can't keep on feeding, or even if you hold the baby, at nights, for example, you have to be wide awake. if you are holding the baby. Otherwise, you may doze off and you are scared that baby will slip. But if you wear in an ergonomic carrier, which can be worn from birth as well, it's not like specific age that you need to wear, but always see to it that the carrier is ergonomic and a hand woven or a cloth material rather than using a synthetic material. Babies sit in like M position in the carriers. Babies sometimes, babies sleep into this, and you can also recline and doze off. You are not scared that baby will fall. Or some mothers who have milk supply issues, I also recommend to wear the baby's funnel so that baby is on to you most of the time. You don't have to take out different time for the baby to sit and nurse or do skin to skin separately. You just can wear them and your hands are free. You can do other chores or whatever you want to do that time.
Absolutely. So, doctor, how do I know the other aspect of attachment is what is a good latch? And have I, other than making the baby comfortable when I start to breastfeed, what is a good latch? Have I latched the baby properly? Is my latch wrong? There are a whole lot of issues that a mother generally goes through.
Yes. So latching is the key to successful breastfeeding. When you get the good latch, baby is able to transfer milk efficiently. And the first message that I want to tell you about this is breastfeeding never hurts. Many people might tell you, if you are feeding the baby, okay, this is the first time, it will be painful, it should not hurt. If it is painful, that means definitely baby's jaw are somewhere coming closer to the nipple. See, if you press, if this is the breast, areola and the nipple, you press anywhere on the breast, on a healthy breast, it never hurts. But if you press closer to the nipple, it starts hurting. That's because all nerve endings are there. So imagine if baby is at the breast and it is hurting, that means 100% there is pressure on the nipple. That means the jaw is coming closer to it. It can be onto the nipple or it can be sometimes closer to the nipple. So that is one of the things that you need to never ever tolerate the pain and continue feeding for a longer time. Many mothers do that, thinking I want to nurse my baby and this is the best. I don't mind tolerating the pain for a while, but you can't. You will do it for 2 days, 4 days, 5 days, but beyond that, if it becomes very painful, later on we have to stop feeding for 2-3 days because it was so sore that even the slightest our own clothes are causing problem and aggravating the soreness, or there is bleeding and discharge, sometimes pus. So never tolerate, unlatch, work on the latch, or if you find that it's not happening with you, need to seek help of the expert on the latch. There are other problems also sometimes, like tongue tie, lip tie, but that needs to be analyzed by a tongue tie experts that we call. And the best part, because we talk about the latching, I want to stress on the positioning. The most common position is everybody knows about holding the baby in the cradle hold and putting the baby at the breast. To tell you, this is the best position for the mother because she is more relaxed and can nurse. But you might find that if a baby is struggling to get the latch in this position, we need to choose and hold in other ways, like holding the baby in cross cradle or a football hold. When I say cross cradle, it is exactly opposite of cradle. In this cradle hold, which we always see in the movies or picture, whatever, or ads about feeding, that mother is holding and nursing like this. Many times it doesn't work because baby is lying like this. You can't hold the breast completely. One side you're worried nose will get blocked. So both your hands are occupied and baby can't get the latch right. So they are struggling to get it and we can't guide because you are either holding like this. So cross cradle is the side you're offering, that hand supports the breast and the other hand holds the baby. We need to wait for the baby to open wider mouth and take the baby closer rather than the mother going closer and bending and moving. So you need to sit in a most relaxed position, and nowadays you also get nursing pillows, but it's not a must to have a nursing pillow. If you are comfortable with a regular bed pillow and that is working for you, that's also. Sitting on a chair, with armrest also helps so that the pillow will stay in place. Otherwise, on the bed, you may find that baby is going down. So to get the latch right, you need to be very comfortable. And to tell you guys, I practice. I see patients from all strata. Many times, in the general ward, we don't have, they are doing their own position. Like, if not, this is not working, they will do something like this and nurse the baby. They have their pallu on top of it. Baby is, I see if the baby is latched well or not. So, if they are getting the latch right, we did not interfere. If I tell them to sit more comfortably, but they in that status, the confidence, or maybe they feel that's the only option to nurse the baby and give the best nourishment. So the problems seen are less. And they have less stress about feeding issues. Because sometimes we read a lot and stress about, and we calculate how much. The questions asked by new parents is how many times I should feed the baby, how much I should feed the baby. So if you keep analyzing a lot, you will see a lot of issues, because baby is the boss. They feed for hunger, for thirst, for comfort a lot. There are cluster feeds and where you will feel 4 or 5 hours you're constantly nursing, which is a part of attachment. They need that, you need you to hold them close. Even if milk is not much, many times if you are feeding the baby for a longer time, you may feel breast have become soft, but baby wants to be nursed more frequently. They check and see, oh God, I don't have milk, and you feel the need to supplement. If you have doubt whether mother baby is getting enough or not, you always see last 24 hours whether baby is passing adequate urine. You see whether the baby's weight gain whenever last check is within the normal range. If these three things are happening, the latch, urine output, and weight, you don't worry about the frequency and duration of feeds. First 3 months, that is their need. It's not that you are creating a bad habit by constantly holding them and taking closer to the breast. Gradually, as they grow, the duration of feeds reduces because they can remove milk more efficiently in short periods.
Doctor, a lot of, as you said, most Indian mothers only know the cradle pose. Could you just show quickly what is a football pose?
Yes. So one, as I said, cross cradle. Football is exactly like this, but on the sides. So I will just turn my chair so they can see more easily. So when I say football, you are able to see it here clearly.
Behind. Yes.
This is better.
Yeah.
So when I say a football hold, it's not just holding the baby on the sides and putting the baby at the base. Baby's head should come at the breast. So if you notice, my back ends and then his legs are behind that. It's not on the sides and then you are bending and fur. You need to be comfortable. Many times mother needs to take pillows behind and take one pillow on the sides. Other is any position for breastfeeding. Baby needs to be still. So not like this, but baby is turned and facing the breast. You are holding the baby by the neck and the upper back and not on the head. His buttocks are resting in the crook of the elbow. He is already at the breast, and the other hand holds the breast. As soon as you baby opens mouth, you need to take him close. Press the breast little, sandwich so that you reduce the surface area, and then take the baby close to the breast. This is the position, and this is best in the initial days if you have a cesarean, because you may not want the baby's weight to be on your tummy and aggravate the pain. So this works. But as they grow, many mothers may find it difficult because they are growing taller and you have to keep moving forward to get the. So later on, cross cradle is the best position to do, and it's not just holding like this. Then you can change and hold in a cradle hold and sit comfortably. But to get the latch right, you might have to change. Many times you may not find it comfortable, especially if the baby is heavy, to hold with like this and try latch the baby. But at least get the latch and then change. That is what I recommend.
Understood, doctor. Doctor, one question that frequently mothers ask because they get exhausted. is sleeping and feeding a good idea? Because that's another kind of hold, right? That requires a different position. So, what's your advice on that?
So sleeping and nursing, like as I we'll speak about cesarean. In cesarean delivery, first day you're lying flat, you don't have an option. You have to nurse in a lying down position. Day two, also many mothers may not be able to get up and nurse, so sideline is fine. But once you start sitting up, then we recommend at least till 6 weeks, don't try and nurse in lying down position. Post 6 weeks, you can start in lying down position, and by then the latch is also well established and you can do it. And even if baby, mostly we say no, in the first few weeks you are already exhausted. We tell you to lie down and feed, we are sure that you will doze off while feeding. Sometimes there is leak from the other breast, or baby may get shallow while you are lying down and feeding. So all those things we want to avoid. That's why avoid till 6 weeks at least. Then you can definitely lie down.
So one question, doctor, because you mentioned people get sore breasts, cracked nipples, etc. Any quick remedy or advice you have for that before we move on?
So we always need to find the cause of why cracked nipple is happening. If you just put cold pressed coconut oil, I recommend, or lanolin is what we give. If we put all that, it will heal. But you need to feed every 2 or 3 hourly. It heals little bit. Again, there is an attack, and then you get sore. So it doesn't get time to heal. So yes, home remedies, as I said, is cold pressed coconut oil, or some people use good quality homemade ghee as well to apply. But ghee usually I'm not very for because of cow milk protein allergies. But cold pressed coconut, virgin coconut oil is good. Otherwise, lanolin basically it is easily available that can be applied. But do find out the cause why it's happening. You can't just say I'm applying but still not healing because the cause is not. And largely it's the wrong way.
Understood. So, doctor, one of this constant concern that moms have, after knowing attachment and knowing that they're getting enough breast milk is the constant concern and the curiosity, which leads to less calories, which I generally say, like, how do I make sure I am giving my baby enough milk? Because if you use a pump, then you're always measuring. But if you don't, then how do I know that my baby is getting enough and I am producing enough?
Yes. So we covered about it little bit earlier, but again I would say, how will we know our baby is getting enough? By their urine output, by their weight, and whether the latch is painless. Usually when you get baby latches on the breast, they will suck in, pause, swallow, breathe, start on their own again. If baby is constantly drowsy at the breast, you constantly need to stimulate him for the latch. That means he is not transferring adequately many times. That's why they need. Otherwise, if a good flow is coming, they immediately start. Means pause, start on their own. But this is for the initial stage. Once feeding is established and all, we need to know every feed is different, every day is different. There is no perfect pill for first 3 months. So you can't apply Kel every 2 hourly feed kiya. That means today also 2 hourly. You can ask in 1 hour also. So many times if the baby asks more frequently, then the mother starts thinking, oh God, whether I'm producing enough or not. So anytime you do check on whether he's passing adequate or not. And weight, you can't weigh him regularly at home. Home weighing scales are not accurate. So whenever you go for a pediatric check, in a month's time, for first 3 months, baby needs to gain at least 500 grams. In the initial days, they lose weight. They come back to birth weight between 8th to 15th day, and then they gain. So don't worry if your baby is looking thinner in the initial days and think that, oh God, he is not looking enough. He might be in the losing phase. He might be the one who will come back on 15th day to birth weight, and then three babies. So 3 things always, whatever feeding issues, I always recommend, remember 3 rules: the latch, the pee count, and the weight gain. If these 3 things are fine, don't worry about. And baby should be not fussing at the breast, cranky. If they get a good life, their efforts are rewarded. They will be peaceful at the breast. If there is some issue, baby always try to communicate with us what they want. If they want to bop in between and uncomfortable, don't think every time that happens, mother think maybe baby is not getting up, we try to shove the breast in. First, when he is refusing, always take the baby closer, see if he wants to bop, then try feeding again.
So, doctor, coming to that very important thing, a lot of people don't know about burping the baby. You know, like my mom, mothers of earlier generation don't know the importance of burping the baby. So, can you stress a little bit upon that and share why is it important to burp the baby and how does it help the baby?
So all babies for first 3 months are going to be colicky or going to be gassy. The reason being they are just sleeping most of the time. That's why we all insist on burping baby after feeds, or even after feeds you are burping. But if you still find your baby gassy or colicky, while you are feeding, the feeding lasts for 30 to 40 minutes or longer. We say you unlatch the baby after 15-20 minutes, help him burp. Either you can burp like this, and there is nothing like banking the baby from the back. You can't do this and get the air out. You need to make them feel more relaxed. If you are having an aerated thing, you are getting a burp. If somebody bangs from behind, we can't get the burp out. We need to go back, relax, then it comes. So we need to make them feel more relaxed. So one of the methods is taking care of nose not getting blocked, putting them here, and then wait for some time, keeping them upright. Air is lighter, it will come up. If it doesn't and baby goes off to sleep, then we insist on putting the baby on the sides while they are sleeping, so that if at all a air bubble comes post, we put them up, then they sometimes milk comes out, they regurgitate along with the air coming up, and if he is lying flat, there can be choking sensation. That's why we need to put them on the sides. One of the other ways to burp them is making them sit and holding them like this and helping them burp. One of the best, what I like is holding the baby like this and making them feel more relaxed. Once they feel more relaxed, they go. So this works really well. But of course, I understand you might not be very comfy on day one to hold baby like this. Yeah. So you need to at least hold them more closer. And your father or even good you asked about burping. Many times nowadays I see is mother feeds, then rest all other activities someone else is doing. We don't get the baby. So I usually, and then they wake up cranky again. So what I suggest is once the feed is done, baby is calm, let the mother hold, let him smell you, be comfortable, go in his deep sleep. Then you give the baby to someone else. Otherwise, many times happens you nurse, somebody else took the baby to burp and he is up again. He wants to nurse again for comfort to go to sleep. So burping, yes, is a must. Definitely post feeding most people do, but if your baby is gassy, then you need to do it in between feeds after 15-20 minutes.
Thank you, doctor, for touching upon like such an important aspect of mother-child bonding, which is mostly missed and not even talked about. Because what happens is just post-delivery we get into our postpartum and we feel that we've prepared everything, we've bought everything that the baby needs, but there is a lot of awareness which is not shared or is not available, which is required most. In fact, I realized that after becoming a mom, all my baby needed for the first 3 months was just a swaddle cloth. And everything else was so much of information and the right awareness and support of healthcare experts like you in order for me to have had that experience so beautiful and easy in that process. So I wanted to ask you, doctor, about people who unfortunately cannot breastfeed, for some reason. Maybe they didn't have the right support. They, for reasons best known, they might not have had, in spite of trying multiple times, the right breastfeed coming milk supply for them, or their latches were not right and they've shifted to formula. So what are the alternative options for them to try before they completely stop breastfeeding? And if they move to formula, the any advice you have for them?
Okay. So,
Whether vati chammach or bottle, or what's the process going forward?
initial days, at least, even if a baby is needing mixed feeding, we recommend don't introduce the bottle till 6 weeks. Because if see, they feed for hunger to satisfy their hunger, and they need the gratification of suckling. The method of latching on the bottle and the breast is completely different. Now, if we are not producing enough milk and we are giving supplementing it with formula, we giving with a katori chamat or diya, or we also have cup to feed the baby, specifically expressed or top feed. But if we give them the bottle, their needs for hunger as well as the gratification is satisfied, and it's a different technique. So they don't come back to breast, and even if they come back, they will try to mimic the way they are doing on the bottle. And the way they do on the bottle is first take the nipple and then move up. If they try doing the same at the breast, it will start hurting and causing more issues. So
Yes.
when you want to successfully mix feed the baby, you need to taste feed when you are using a bottle. Use a bottle which has a good potent air vent. So if, for example, this is the bottle, we never hold the bottle like this and feed. Mostly we are told to hold like this because air should not pass and more cause more colic. We in fact tell them to hold slightly horizontal. Let the baby take more base of the bottle in. Sucking, you drop the bottle down, take it up, drop it down. So when you are doing this, if you use a simple bottle which doesn't have a good air vent, air is obviously going to pass through the baby and they will get colic. So if you use a good air vent bottle, you can do this easily. And why this? Because initial days, for whatever reason, 6 weeks is the best time. But ultimately, it is the uniform call by the parents, and depending on the support they have at home for doing everything. So there are some parents who will still feel the need to introduce bottle before 6 weeks or even later. If we don't pace feed, through the bottle they get 60 ml in 5 minutes, and from the breast they are taking like 40 minutes. He is ultimately a human baby. They will choose the easier option. That's why we need to pace feeding is the key, and many people are not aware about using the bottle like this. We always see bottle given like this to the baby. Also, baby should not be lying flat. Baby should be sitting more upright, and you should feed the baby like to avoid asphyxia and everything. So these are the things that, and most important thing, you don't. I can understand because of some problem that you are nobody. Very few mothers to tell you I know that chose to formula feed. Most of them they try their level best and then have to give formula to their baby, and nobody
And
is
then
happy.
feel guilty.
They feel there is a lot of guilt, and why I'm not able to give the best. But once you try given your best and it's not working, you don't keep that guilt in the mind. You will breastfeeding is the start. It's one of the aspects of parenting. You need to focus on other things as well. If that guilt constantly remains, then you will not be able to give your 100% even in other things. So please don't, because that should not be the reason. You will be sad and depressed, and we pass on our stress and anxiety the way we hold them and all. So you should not feel guilty. Try your best. But the good news, I would tell you, I know somebody who delivered through surrogacy. She contacted me before her baby was going to come, and she got the milk before the baby came. Of course, not exclusively, but a mother who had hormonal issues and delivering baby was a challenge. She was an elderly mother. Still, she could get the milk not by taking any hormone. She just took regular herbal galactogogues, but she was pumping more frequently before the baby came. She got some milk. So I'm saying if they can get, even if there is a time, like I see mothers few days baby has not taken, like 15 days, last 2 months I have not fed. and milk is there, it's less, but you can relax it. You need to give your 100% if you want to do that. If you start frequently removing milk, there is a good chance that product. Don't worry about the amount. If not 100%, at least some amount of antibodies and immunoglobulins will go to the baby rather than all feeds formula feed. So don't give up.
True. Doctor, one question has come. Somebody's delivered a preemie baby and is asking that once my baby gains weight, can, I start breastfeeding then?
You can start now also, but of course, as she said, it's a preemie baby. It's an individualistic, way to approach this case. I can't tell you on the phone without even
Yes,
seeing
absolutely.
the weight of the baby. But it doesn't depend on just being preemie or not. There are 28-week-old we have put at the breast, so it's not that just because he's preemie, whether he's able to do it, how is the muscle tone of the baby, how much is the production. But I would like to tell her, if at all currently it's not happening, you at least need to maintain your growth by expressing more frequently so that once you start latching, there should be enough milk for the baby.
So one of the things, doctor, that most moms have in their shopping list these days, whether you come from any strata, is a breast pump. It's almost become like a need for every mom to buy. For comfort factor, maybe they assume that it's a required need. I want
Yeah.
you to touch upon a little bit of that, because as you knew, like 3 days before, we had a case where a mom microwaved the breast milk. So there is
Yeah.
a lot of lack of awareness that is there with breast milk pumping, how to pump, when is the best timing that I can get breast milk, how to store it, and how long can I store it for. I don't know if we can address all of it today, but if you could just briefly explain that, so that at least things they should definitely not do, like microwaving breast milk.
Oh, yes. So, for some reason or for whatever reason you choose to give express breast milk to the baby, then it should be taken care that you are not touching the breast milk per se. One method we saw is hand expressing. When we didn't have pump, world was using the hand to express the breast milk. The other option is the pump, but there are two types. One is manual and one is electric. uh, I don't recommend everyone to get an electric one always. If your need is just, otherwise you are exclusively breastfeeding, but you want to express once in a while, once in 2 3 months when you're stepping out to give, then you don't need an electric breast pump. But somebody who has to, work on increasing the flow, or somebody's baby is in NICU for a long time, as one of the mothers said, primary, the baby was premature and was shifted to NICU, so she needs the pump more frequently. So the best option is to get. So whenever you need to use the pump more frequently, you need to use an electric breast pump. Yes, electric breast pumps are very expensive compared to a manual breast pump, but you have to take the call depending on your use. Like twins, I say you use an electric breast pump. Don't use don't try with a manual. You will not have the time to express with the manual. But again, you have to take that call depending on your own preferences. Once you pump the milk, express breast milk can be kept at room temperature for 4 hours. If AC is on, you can keep it for 6 hours. In the fridge, I'm talking largely in India, how we will handle it. In the fridge, we have only one fridge most of the time. If you have a separate, I know somebody who had a separate fridge, small one only for breast milk storage. So if your regular fridge you are keeping max 48 hours, in the freezer you can keep it for longer. Theoretically, you can keep for 3 months as well. But I tell my patients to keep it max for 1.5 months. Sometimes there is an enzyme in the milk which may change the taste of the milk. It's not harmful, but the baby may reject. Then all your efforts of storing for milk for such a long time will go waste. So max 1.5 months, even if you plan to join work. When you want to give milk to the baby, if it is outside, if milk stands for longer duration, water and fat may get separated and it looks as if it has got spoiled. Don't worry, it doesn't behave like cow milk. So you just have to shake it and give it to the baby. If it is AC is on, or if it is in the fridge, remove it, keep it in the warm water, let it come to room temperature, and then you feed the baby. If it is in the freezer, you have to keep it outside for quite some time, then put it in warm water, let it come to liquid state, room temperature, and then feed the baby. That's all. But never directly eat the milk. Never use microwave for warming the milk, because the fat in the milk will increase in temperature compared to the rest, the fluid, and the baby's tongue may get burned. So we never directly use the milk, and of course the nutrient of the milk will be changed if you directly use it. So we should not do it.
Understood, doctor. As doctor, we've set up this platform to help mothers from all stratas of life. We keep getting this question on nutrition. What should I eat in order to make plenty of milk? We know construction laborers feed their babies, and we know that people who are billionaires feed their babies. What is the importance of nutrition for a mother while breastfeeding the baby? And what is the myth around it? So if you could demystify that a little bit.
So the thing is, first of all, I would say never think I should have plenty of milk. I know any number of mothers who are dealing with oversupply issues. Like just before starting this life, a friend of mine who is a doctor, he just messaged me that I am so stressed about this issue that even if I am having so much milk, why my baby is not able to have milk? So never want. You should always say I want enough for my own baby. Coming to the nutrition part, I usually recommend not restricting a lot of food the way traditionally or culturally every culture don't eat. And every culture has something contradictory. Some will say aloo khao, ye will khao, you don't know. How can it be different in the same country? Well, so what I recommend is no restriction on food per se. You can eat whatever you were eating earlier, but that doesn't mean I'm saying you eat processed food. Eat everything means if you can eat all types of fruits, you can eat all types of nuts, vegetables. बैंगन खाया तो गैस होएगा, cabbage खाया तो गैस होएगा, ऐसा. It doesn't bypass your GI system, blood stream, and directly go to the breast. So every food has some good nutrient, and to tell you now, we all know eating local and seasonal is nutritious. Then everybody delivers in different months. You can't be using the same food. If in summer mango is available, you can eat your mango. It's not that baby will get pass more stools or get gassy if you are eating that. Of course, because there are no flat guidelines which everybody should follow. If any mother tells me I ate this and 2-3 times I noticed that after this he is getting more gassy, okay, we avoid that food. But nothing like a same rule for everybody not to avoid. But just to enhance little bit, you can have fenugreek in your meals. Fenugreek seeds can be soaked in water overnight. You can drink that water, plus you can take those seeds as pills and swallow it. You can sprout it and use it in your salads. In some traditions, some people make bhaji of sprouted fenugreek. Other forms like thepla or methi ka sabji you can include in your diet. Apart from that, other greens also are important. When we say eat lot of greens, that doesn't mean eat only methi and palak. There are shepu, amaranth, Sauli. There are so many greens.
Yeah, there's so many varieties of
greens available, and sadly we are not we are not even aware concept. We just know palak and methi. So totally greens include karo in your diet. Include millets in your diet. Eat all types of fruits. Orange will not cause cold in your baby or you. You can eat. We say कि ये ठंडा millets, jowar, bajra. So there are lots of it. You need to include that in your diet as well. You can keep a mixed dry fruit dabba beside you, and you can munch on that when you are super hungry, rather than going to because your appetite is going to be more when you are nursing, and you will feel very hungry at 4 a.m. in the morning. So you can banana or dry fruits or something like that. And most important, as
Understood,
you
doctor.
mentioned earlier, people from all strata, like general ward patients, they need very, less help. They feed for longer durations.
Yes,
Nowadays we have this nanny or jhapa they call for help for the mother.
yes.
But you ask them how long they have nursed their babies. They have nursed their babies for 4 years, 5 years, and they didn't have the best food, best nuts,
Absolutely,
best.
yes.
They were eating उनके locally available जो रहता है वो traditionally वो they used to eat
They
that.
were eating that.
They were following their baby's cue and putting them to breast. Even if they were working, they were putting what we discussed ergonomic carrier. They were putting the baby on the sling. Baby was inside feeding, and they were doing some work. So they never chose the bottle. They never did. There is no option. We have to nurse the baby on demand because that can
Absolutely.
give their baby more protection. So what most important is don't take stress about food. You don't have to, get the best. There's nothing like this. It depends on the situation. When I say I help, I always ask my patients, what are your breastfeeding goals? Mine is exclusive 6 months, continue till 2 years, or
Yes.
we self-feeding. But it may not work for everyone. So you need to sit and decide what is best for you, and you need to work for that. And you don't compare or feel guilty about what the world is saying.
So thank you, Dr. Migdha, for addressing like so many topics and teaching us the ABC of
Yes.
breastfeeding before D of delivery and the baby
Yes.
coming in our hands. Also, a lot of questions coming up on what is breast engorgement, how do I latch, etc., etc. Guys, she's already given us 1 hour of like an amazing session. If you want to really learn about breastfeeding, if you have just delivered, pre-delivery, or post that, she also does consultation and classes. She has a class coming up on 6th of June, which is on exclusively successfully breastfeeding. If you'd like to do that, sign up. If you have any issues, please reach out to her through her platform called Green Moms India. It's an amazing initiative, and it's very interesting how she shares about not only breastfeeding but also living a healthy lifestyle, eating healthy food, making healthy food for you and your baby. And she's a wonderful person. She made me a super mom by helping me achieve my breastfeeding goals, and teaching me a lot of things. And these are things, doctor, which I also wanted to share. The reason we started First Parents is because people don't know how much there is to learn. There is a lot to learn from other experts beyond just the gynecologists. And
Yes.
unfortunately, that is not available on Google. So I hope you can just share your last few words of wisdom before we close this session with you today.
I would tell all of you, if your baby body has taken care of your baby without anybody's interference, they were just monitoring you that everything is fine. But baby was created naturally by yourself, by your body. Trust your body, trust your baby. Don't doubt constantly and don't, analyze. You baby, when you take efforts to put the baby on the breast, latch well, follow the cues. Don't keep on thinking whether he's getting. There will be babies who will nurse every 3 hourly. There will be babies who will nurse every 1.5 hourly. Both are normal. If pee is fine, weight is fine, latch is not painful. Be in the moment. Don't be, constantly getting stressed about how, we keep on stressing, oh, I'm not getting sleep. And if you worry about the future, you will not enjoy the moment. So be in the moment, trust your baby and the body is what I will say.
Thank you so much, Dr.
All the
Mugdha, for not
best,
only telling
everyone.
about, yes, all the best, everyone, but thank you so much for teaching us about breastfeeding and beyond. The importance of mother child bonding, the importance of holding the baby, burping the baby. There is so much to do once you have
Yeah.
that little angel in your hands. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for this
At
session.
the end, I would like to congratulate Hani for starting this because it is quite professional. You know, I'm doing Insta live with a lot of people, but she also has a website. If you go there, you see the upcoming events, you see the past events, you click on that, you get the, which usually, you know, is not there with everyone. So I really appreciate all your efforts, and most importantly, there are no biases. She is trying to, you know, take experts from all the fields, be it a cesarean expert or a natural delivery